Well, welcome back everyone. We're here again talking about absent parents today, which is going to be an emotionally interesting topic. Gary, I guess, have you had any experience of, I don't know, are you happy to share? We haven't even talked about your side of things.
Yeah, more than happy.
Yeah.
It does apply to me. Yeah, this comes off the back of a conversation that we were having last time about death, doesn't it? And then we kind of ended it then talking about your parents, didn't we? So for me, my mum and dad split up when I was 4.
Yeah.
And then dad was kind of absent from the home 6 days a week, and we would go and see him once a week.
Yeah.
So in many ways, he was an absent father all the way throughout my life. I hesitate to say it because in the moments he was present, he was present, but that was only once a week. And also, you know that phrase like "don't speak ill of the dead."
Yeah.
That's kind of with me a little bit. So I'll probably be a little bit, I don't know, cautious or overly kind to my dad in this session. And I'm aware of that. So I try and push myself to talk about the reality rather than make him sound better than what he was.
Yeah.
Because he certainly wasn't perfect. So I did suffer the results of an absent father. So through those early periods, I had to get the information off my mum because I was only 4 years old when they split up. But apparently when they split, I had some separation anxiety from my mum, which worked its way out in me kind of in the middle of the night having nightmares and getting into bed with my mum. And I think that lasted, like, mum would have to correct me, but up to the age of 8 or 9. So about 5 or so years of having frequent nightmares, being scared of being separated from mum, and then getting into bed with her. So I can't remember a lot of it. So that was through what mum has told me, but that's obviously very sad to picture that 4-year-old kid up to age 9, like not being able to sleep in his own bed. And having that separation anxiety. I do, when I allow myself to think about it, I do blame my dad because ultimately what he did is he had numerous affairs and that's why he left my mum. And I think in the cold light of day, like, I don't know whether they fell out of love with each other, but for me in the cold light of day, what he's done is he's chosen these affairs, not only over my mum, but over his family. So he's disconnected from, at that time, his 3 children. One had just been born. That was my younger brother, Mark. Myself, who was 4, and my older brother, who was 6. So he's literally disconnected, and he's chosen that.
Yeah.
He's chosen these women over his children 6 days a week. So that's the reality, isn't it? So you can't help but feel less loved.
Yeah.
That my dad loved me less than he loved these women.
Yeah.
Which is painful for me to admit to you, because I want to be loved.
Yeah. And we were just talking about in the other session about sort of death, about sort of presence, weren't we? And if he chose not to be present, you were grieving that loss of him being there for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very hard. Yeah, that's something I haven't experienced. My parents stayed together. But yeah, no, I would have thought that would have been very tricky.
Yeah, I think he tried to make it up to us. So when he saw us on the Saturday, and I remember this was always my mum's accusation of him, and you do hear this type of thing said, that he tried to make that one day so special. So we'd often go out for meals, he'd treat us to ice creams, he'd come and watch our football, and we'd go to kind of, I don't know, fairground rides and amusements. And, like, spend his money, and kind of we got treated.
Yeah.
And then mum was left the 6 days a week to do the discipline, the hard stuff, bringing up the children. And then he got the glory moments. And I very much feel that he tried to make it up to us, and that he had some regret, especially later on in his life.
Yeah.
But really, you can't make that up.
No.
Because he wasn't there 6 days a week.
Yeah, that's it.
And no, you can't make it, no matter how hard you try on your one day.
Yeah.
You are not present 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And you've chosen that. You've chosen, in a way, he's chosen to abandon his children.
Yeah. And that must have been it probably worked out into your school life, into everything, really.
Yeah, you expect to be abandoned, and even in married life, I expect Joe to walk out on me.
Yeah. I think you said to me in the past, because Joe grew up in a sort of where her mum and dad stayed together.
Yeah,
she doesn't have that fear. Yeah. In fact, actually, it's the same for me and my wife. It's the other way around. So my parents stayed together, and I'm not ever worried about Beck leaving. But Beck's always worried that I'm going to leave. She used to be. I don't know whether she still is. I've tried and reassure her I'm not.
Yeah, because it's in our Beck's and mine. It's in our histories, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
But even if parents remain together, it doesn't mean that they remain present in your lives, does it?
That's right, exactly, yeah.
So what happened for you?
Well, I think both my parents, and apologies in advance, Mum and Dad, if you're watching this.
Or do you need to apologise, or do you need to challenge them?
This is the thing, because I don't like challenging people. I avoid challenging people, that's 100% the case, but ultimately they stayed together, which I thank them for in a way, because it sort of does give you a bit more of a solid
bit more stability.
But equally I feel like they were never particularly relationally great with me. It's, in terms of I don't remember them playing with me much as a kid, that type of thing. We lived on a green, so I used to just run outside and play outside for hours on end, but I don't really remember much interaction growing up with them and playing with them together. Like, we'd go to parks, but they would sit on a bench and watch us, type thing. So there's not much interaction.
Like engagements. You never kind of had the stereotypical game of Monopoly with them.
We probably did to a degree. Again, I don't want to be too harsh to them, because we probably did have moments like that, but I don't remember them very well in my head, which would suggest to me that they're probably a bit more sparse than probably was needed from an emotional point of view as a kid growing up. Again, I might be doing them just a disservice saying that, I don't know. But
is it how you feel now?
I think now is still the case, really. I don't really see them very much. They've moved away to help my sister, which and her family and stuff, which, again, my sister does need help with stuff. So I'm not, poo-pooing that.
Them
no, I don't begrudge them necessarily for that, but it does, the consequences of that mean that I don't see them at all, and I guess it feels quite hard to get them over to see us. For whatever reason, but equally it's not like we going up there every week either, so again, I want to be fair on that. Over time, it's just felt like there's this disconnect, and we're not as present in each other's life as should be, really. But also I naturally am like them, I would say, in that I'm not a people person anyway, so I have to fight to be present in my kids' life, as we were just talking about in another session. So I have to manually override the thought of being on my own to try and interact with people. So I understand where they're coming from, because I've got the same sort of internal system going on, but equally it doesn't mean that it's not painful having that disconnect still. That disconnect causes pain,
Yeah, but maybe this being on your own, and you have to work hard to not be on your own, might be echoes of your childhood. Like when you're saying kind of you just let outside onto the green area, kind of just to do your own thing on your own. Maybe, we don't know, because I don't know how clear your memory is, but maybe large parts of your upbringing or your life were on your own.
Yeah.
So now that's what you know.
Yeah.
So that's your go-to. That
I think
around
that was
your
the case,
own family, you'll be on your own.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How present should a parent be in the life of their child, do you think? Because I remember in a previous counselling session, you spoke about how different Bex's, and your wife Beck's, world was to yours. And it was a real learning curve for you to find out how present her parents were in her life as a child, like doing craft or kind of playing these games.
Yeah.
And it shocked you.
Yeah. I think I've seen from my wife, and she's taught me a lot by just watching her, really, that it's incredibly important, because ultimately my kids love being with my wife. And they're very emotionally connected to her. They love giving her hugs. They don't really want to give me hugs very often. And that's quite painful, because I've not got that sort of personable interaction. I do envy people who don't like computers or don't understand computers, because as someone who likes computers, it takes you into a different world. Do you know what I mean? Away from your family and things like that instantly on a screen. So because I like computers, I sort of understand the computer world more than I do the real world, really. And it's been quite painful to see my wife get a lot more attention from my kids than they give to me, because again, I have to manually think about people as opposed to just naturally loving people. I mean, I do have a baseline of loving my kids fundamentally, and I really do want to be with them and things, but for whatever reason I'm not a people person. I don't know why, and that annoys me. I'm more of a tech person, so I find it easier to be around tech than I do people, and that causes a disconnect, which I don't like, because I don't want to get to the end of my life and my kids turn around and say, well, we didn't really know you, Dad, and they'd be emotionless at my funeral. Do you know what I mean? And that scares me.
Fear.
Yeah, that scares me. So because of counselling, I've been really trying my best to sort of be better in these moments, and try and interact with them more, even if it I don't feel naturally like I want to.
I'll tell you what went through my mind, and it's a really provocative statement, and it will probably cause you a bit of pain, but it's kind of piecing together everything that you've said, and I'm imagining, so which out of your two children do you feel slightly less of a connection with?
Probably my younger one slightly, yeah.
And his name is?
Daniel.
So I'm imagining at your funeral, Daniel saying, it was a sad reality for me that kind of Dad and I never really had a hug, because Dad received his hugs from the computer.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I'm trying to say, let's have a hug. I'm literally manually saying, let's have a hug. I went to a funeral of a child once who died unexpectedly, and one of the things that the grandparent talked about was, he said that I miss my hugs with him, and that really settled with me. So I'm manually trying, as a non-tactile person, to say, let's have a hug. So I do consciously do that more, which I think is a good thing. It's just I'm gutted it's not a natural thing, because I would like it to be honest. But it's not.
It probably wasn't natural in your life, was it?
No.
As a child,
yeah.
Can you remember Mum and Dad hugging you very often?
Definitely hugged me, and I remember my mum singing to me, as I was going to sleep and things like that. But they did do the occasional hug, but again, they weren't tactile. They're still not tactile. I mean, they're not even tactile with each other. And when I hug my dad now, it feels very awkward. Like, this is not natural. Like, it's not natural for him. It's not natural for me. It feels very awkward. But we've got better over the last few years, really. Yeah.
How's it feel talking about it?
Yeah,
Are you imagining Mum or Dad?
Yeah, it's emotional, because I want to sort of respect them, obviously, and I do respect my parents because of all that they've sacrificed for me and all the love that they have shown for me. Because it's not like I grew up in a dreadfully abusive environment or something. But equally, it's painful. I think having got married, it's interesting to see the relationship Beck had with her parents, and it being a stark difference really to the relationship I've had with my parents, and that has caused me to see my eyes opened a little bit into how we live is important, because if we don't have that interaction with our kids, then I'll end up grieving that interaction I never had ultimately. When they die.
Yeah, and sometimes a bit of comparison can shed light, can't it? Like, comparison's not always negative. So you can compare something and think, oh, okay, I would like to live up to what I've seen, the way that Bex had been with her parents, or the way that they had been with her, and you can be inspired by something by making a comparison and think, oh, that's the type of father I want to be. Yeah,
but unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever make the mark, because it's not natural, whereas for them it's natural. Do you know what I mean? It just sort of comes naturally to be a people person, whereas it's just never, I don't think it ever will be fully natural. But equally, if it was fully natural, I wouldn't be good at computers. It's just one of those things, in a way, it's one of those things, like, I have to try my best to break out of, like, that because I realise that's not good about me. I've got the self-awareness to understand, well, actually I'd like to change that element. But equally, I don't think I'm ever going to fully change, because I'm not naturally a people person, unless one day I wake up and have a bolt of lightning hit me or something. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, we can only work within our own personalities, our own life experiences, our own kind of biology, can't we? Like, you can't be Bex because you are John.
Yeah,
but like you're aware that being a tech person creates limitations for you in terms of connecting with people.
Yeah.
But because you're aware of them, you can challenge that and try and push yourself, which is difficult because there might be a bit of social anxiety around that, but at least you have a go.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah,
like you're working within your limitations.
Yeah,
and like it's similar to me when I'm on a computer. I'm then working within my limitations. I'm never going to be as techie as you.
No, that's right.
I'll give it a go.
And you wouldn't be able to make these videos technically. No. You're not an editor. So there's pluses to me being like that. But equally, I have to be self-aware enough to say, well, actually, the reality is people on the internet aren't going to love me as much as my family, and I've got to pull myself back the other way, and I recognise that about myself, because that is important. It's 100% important. I think if I was just like completely unaware of it, that's the dangerous bit, really. But because I'm aware of it, at least I'm trying. So I don't think I'll ever be as good as my wife is at it, but at least I'm trying.
As good as tech.
No, that's right. Yeah. But at least we're helping people through these videos, hopefully. So because I'm like that to a degree. Yeah. So.
All right, John. That's kind of time's gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
But an interesting kind of thing to reflect on, and again, like we take the last couple of talks we've done, a lot is about how present we are. Yeah. Or how present we're not.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a challenge to both of us.
Yeah, and I guess it's deciding who you want to be present with is one of the important things. Who do you want to focus on? Because you can't focus on everyone. That would be too hard. But yeah, focusing on the key people in your life that you really want to sort of invest in. Yeah. So kids are a good example of that, and spouses. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Right, John,
thanks very much.
Thanks for your time.
Take care.
Yeah. Until next time.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thanks ever so much for listening in. Remember to hit the follow button to stay up to date for latest episodes. It was good. It didn't go quite as emotional as I thought it would. But
the first one was more emotional. But I think that was to do with your relationship with your father-in-law.
Yeah.
Which shows us, it almost proves what we were talking about. Because you had a greater connection to him. Yeah. That's why it stirred the emotion more. So the fact that like your parents weren't that present in your life, it's not going to stir your emotion.
No.